You're welcome.
Do we turn? Okay. Actually, okay, I'm going to sit down. No, that's too close. That's good. Can everybody hear me okay?
I'll go off to the side.
Okay. How's that? Everybody hear me good? Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. I'm sure you're all excited to be back. What I want to do today is show you how to use the phones, like Mark said. We're deploying all the phones in the classrooms, in the offices, starting today. So as you come in and get organized in your rooms this week, you're going to start seeing these phones in place. The actual cutover is taking place tomorrow evening? Okay, so late tomorrow. So as of Wednesday, you'll be using these phones. So we want to give you an overview of how they work. Up on the screen right now, what we have is the telephone, the actual desk phone that will be on anyone's desk who has a desk phone. And there's some features of the phone I want to show you first. There is maybe it's not easy to see from there. There's a bracket on the back that you can adjust the angle of how it sets. So on your desks or wherever you have that, it will set there. You also have the display. Okay, I can't get it angled right. There we go. So you have the display. There's these 8 programmable buttons here that have been set up based on how we've determined you in the district will be needing to use the phones. Down here in the display is information. It gives you the date and time. It gives you your extension number and the name associated with this extension. These 4 buttons here are what we call soft keys, and they are associated with these 4 options in the display. There's your keypad. There's fixed function buttons, and at the top of the phone up here, it's a little hard to see right now, but we'll show you later when it's lit too, is your message waiting light. That will flash red when you have any messages in your mailbox. As for the buttons on the phone themselves, what you have is an intercom button. That is for whenever you're calling anyone within the district. That is the button that's going to light up when you call them or they call you. So when you dial a 4-digit extension number, that's the line it's going to appear on. The next 2 buttons directly below that say main lines are where your outside calls will be handled from. So whether you make an outgoing call or an incoming call comes into you from the outside, they will appear under those 2 buttons. On the opposite side of the phone over here, you have 3 buttons that are labeled Park 1, 2, and 3, and that's where calls will be when you put them on hold to be picked up at other locations. You also have a Do Not Disturb button and a Record button. And we'll get into how those features actually work here in a minute. Before I forget, just so you all know, number 1, this training is being recorded and will be made available to you, so if you need to go back and review it later. There is also documentation user guide sheets that will be emailed to you or made accessible to you on a common drive to go over the basic features as well. Okay, so what happens basically initially when you receive an incoming call is obviously the phone rings. You've got a couple options for answering the call. Whoops, sorry here guys. Oh, now the line's gone. All calls are being answered by an auto attendant, so whenever anyone calls in to reach you at your extension, you're going to have to dial star plus your extension number. All extension numbers are 4-digit. Okay. Oh, the screen lights up, the color went bad there. So I can hit my answer button, I can hit my speaker button, or I can lift up the handset to take this call. This main line light lights green, so that is where your call is. If I hit my hold button, my main line button is flashing green, so I know that's where my call is on hold. To retrieve that call, all I have to do is hit that main line button again, and I have answered my call. If I want to put the call on hold because it's going to be picked up at another extension or it's for someone else, I can hit any one of the park buttons on the other side. So I can hit park 1 and hang up. That call is now on hold on all phones, and that park 1 button is flashing on all phones in your building. So somebody in the office or another classroom or something can pick up that call by simply hitting the park 1 key. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
How does the person know if the call is for them, or if they just pick up and, hey, what you doing?
Well, first of all, there are no calls being directed to, you have DID numbers, so people dialing are going to be dialing your direct number direct to you. So unless they've called in through the main number and have talked to someone and the call's being transferred. And down here in the display, it was a little hard to see when the call was coming in, but it shows you where that call is coming from. But you should probably just always answer it as, hi, this is Mrs. Smith, or however you'd like to answer that.
Can I transfer calls to another 4-digit extension?
Yes, you can. And that was going to be my next step to show you here, is when you do want to transfer calls, if you have a call on the line, all you have to do is actually hit the transfer button down here, right here in the middle. So I have the call, and I now want to transfer it to another extension. I hit transfer, and if you notice the main line button is flashing green, the caller's on hold. So at this point, all I have to do is dial the 4-digit extension number of where I want to transfer it to. And I can allow that person to answer the call and tell them who I'm transferring, or I can simply hang up and the call will go to that person's phone. Okay? To make a call, right? All you have to do is dial 8 and the phone number. You've always dialed 8 in the past, so that shouldn't be a change for you, but you will dial 8 and then the phone number. If it's a local call, 7 digits. If it's a long distance call, 1 plus the area code plus the phone number. Okay, so 9181. It shows you the number you're dialing. My line's still tied up. You can also hit redial and the pound key, and it will redial the last number you dialed. I'm not sure what that number was. So you have the call on the line, and again, same thing. You can transfer it, you can put it on hold on your own phone, your main line flashes, or you can put it on a park button for someone else to pick up somewhere else. Either one will work. and just hit the speaker or put the handset down to disconnect the call. You do have a Do Not Disturb button on your phone. So this button over, sorry, try not to get my hand in there. All you have to do is press the Do Not Disturb button.
Your extension, then hit your speaker, and then hit the Do Not Disturb.
Okay, so speaker, Do Not Disturb. Okay, so to do the Do Not Disturb, you hit speaker, your Do Not Disturb button, and then speaker. And if you notice, yeah, there it goes. The D&D is flashing, the light is red there, indicating to you that your phone is in Do Not Disturb. Whenever your phone is in Do Not Disturb, you will not receive any calls, whether they be intercom or an outside call. They will all be directed to your voicemail. So probably only maybe during an important meeting or something like that where you want to use Do Not Disturb, because most of the time, again, you are going to want to be able to at least receive some incoming calls. To release Do Not Disturb, you hit speaker, Do Not Disturb. Okay, Scott. How do you turn it off? It's not going off. Twice. Okay. So to turn Do Not Disturb off, you hit speaker, the Do Not Disturb button twice, and then speaker again. Okay? The other button over here that you have is a record button. What this will allow you to do is record conversations in your voicemail as a message in your voicemail. So if you're talking to somebody, they're giving you maybe some detailed information or it's something important you want to keep track of for a little while you're on the call, all you have to do is hit the record button and it will record that conversation from the point when you hit the record button as a message in your mailbox. And I know the next question is going to be, is that legal? And the answer to that is yes. The law is that as long as one party to the conversation knows that the call is being recorded, it's legal. And you as one party activating that record is legal. Now whether it would be admissible in a court of law if it ever came to something like that, that would be for an attorney to determine. But to actually record it, you're fine. Okay? Okay, so just a quick recap. Your hold button puts your call on hold on your own phone. The park keys put the call on hold on all phones in your building. You can pick it up anywhere else. The transfer button allows you to transfer the call to any 4-digit extension throughout the district, not just within your building. So you can make intercom calls, you can transfer calls throughout the district. Your speaker button will allow you to use your phone as a speakerphone, or you can just pick up the handset and use it to talk privately. One of the other features that you do have is you have this button here that's labeled List. And what you can do is you can hit List and redial. One's redial, one's caller ID. Redial is the calls that you have made, so the numbers that you've called out on, and the caller ID is your incoming calls. You use the arrow keys and you can scroll through, and right here will show you the different calls that have come through to this phone. It holds the last 20 calls. So if you want to recall that, if you want to call that extension back, or that number back, all you have to do is hit the pound key, and it will redial. You can hit the speaker button, and it will redial. Or you can pick up your handset, and it will redial while that number is showing in your display. Okay? Any questions? Yes?
The 4-digit extension, is that going to be room numbers?
No, the 4-digit extension number does not correlate with your room number. It correlates with your DID number. So the last 4 digits of your DID number is the extension number. And everyone will be getting new DID numbers. And if you don't know what a DID number is, it's what's called a direct inward dial, kind of like a private line, and that number is directed to that phone. So each of the classrooms and offices are getting those direct numbers. You can give them out or not if you choose. And people can call you directly without having to dial the school's main number, go through the auto attendant and all the options in the auto attendant and try and reach you that way. Okay?
How do you set up your voicemail?
That's a good question. That was going to be our next step. Okay, so everyone has voicemail. Your voicemail is the same as your extension number. So in the case, for example, this phone is extension 5788. The mailbox is 5788. You can access your voicemail by simply pressing this message button, this button here that says the message.
You have no new messages. To leave a message, press 7-7. For the complete main menu of features, press 0. Ready.
Okay, the voicemail lady is going to talk to you all the time. She's going to give you all your options, tell you all the prompts. Once you get used to it, you don't have to listen to her. You can just dial right through. The other thing is the options are going to come up in the display as well. So you can use these 4 soft key buttons up here to get to where you want to be for your voicemail as well. If you have a voicemail in your mailbox, this light up here is going to flash red. Right up here is going to flash red. In your display, it's going to tell you how many new voicemails you have. And you can just hit the voicemail button.
You have no new messages. To leave a message, press 7-7. For the complete main menu of features, press 0.
So I
Ready.
could listen.
You have no messages.
I don't have any right now, so I don't have any to listen to. What you do need to do, though, what you're going to want to do initially is record your greetings. There are 3 greetings in everyone's voicemail. They call them greeting 1, 2, and 3. Greeting 1 is the default greeting. That is where you should record whatever message you want callers to hear. Greeting 2 and greeting 3 are optional. If you'd like to record a special greeting for an extended absence or something like that, you can do that when you need to do that. But greeting 1 is at least the first initial greeting that you do have to record. Hi, this is Kathy from Hamtramck Schools, 1st grade class. Please leave your name and number and I'll return your call after class hours. Something general that you can leave on and don't have to change if you don't want to. The other 2 greetings, again, being optional, you can change them more often if you want, or not. So let's go through and just get an idea here of how you actually record that greeting. Again, you hit your voicemail button.
You have no new messages. To leave a message, press 7-7. For the complete main menu of features, press 0. Ready.
I'm going to hit the greet button.
The greeting that is currently active is number 1. Please enter the number 1, 2, or 3. For the greeting which... Greeting 1 has been recorded. To listen to the greeting, press 5. To record a new greeting, press 7. To delete the greeting, press 3. To...
Start recording at the tone and press the pound key when you are done.
Hi, this is Mrs. Gray from 1st grade classroom. Please leave your name and number and I'll return your call after class hours. Thank you.
1 has been recorded. To listen to the greeting, press 5.
So you can listen to it.
Hi, this is Mrs. Gray from 1st grade classroom. Please leave your name and number and I'll return your call after class hours. Thank you. Greeting 1 has been recorded. To listen to the greeting,
It's that simple to record it. If you didn't like the way it sounded, you can go back and re-record it. And again, if you want to do other greetings as well, you just choose greeting.
the greeting that is currently active is
And greeting 2.
has not been recorded. To record a greeting, press 7. To exit this feature,
And again, I
press the
can
pound
do
key.
record or 7.
Start recording at the tone and press the pound key when you are done.
Hi, this is Mrs. Gray from the 1st grade classroom. We're out on a field trip today. Please leave your name and number and I'll return your call tomorrow.
Greeting 2 has been recorded. To listen to the greeting, press 5. To record the greeting that is currently active is number 2. Please enter the number 1.
Because I was working with greeting 2, that is the greeting that is currently active. But now I want to go back. I have 2 greetings recorded. I have greeting 1 and greeting 2. I want to go back to my greeting 1, though, because that's what I want to play all the time. So I'm going to hit voice message. I'm going to hit greeting.
The greeting that is currently active is number 2. Please enter the number 1, 2, or 3 for the greeting which is to...
I've hit 1.
1 has been recorded. To listen to...
And I can hang up, and greeting 1 is now my active greeting. So once they're recorded, to switch back to them is very easy. The other thing you need to do with your voicemail is set a password. We do recommend that you set a password on your mailbox, and it gives you the option to use that password at your own phone or to use that password only when calling from the outside. So for example, if you want to check your messages in the evening from home, you would have to enter your password at that time, but if you're at your own desk, you don't need to enter the password. We do recommend again that you set the password, and you again have that choice. So to set the password, you go into voicemail.
You have no new messages. To leave a message, press 7-7. For the complete main menu of features, press 0.
I'm going to hit more, and I have set up.
Welcome to the mailbox options.
I have code.
Security code. Enter your new security code. Or, to delete your security code, press the star key. Your new security code is 1, 2, 3, 4. To require that your security code be entered when calling from your personal extension, press 7. Otherwise, press 6. To re-enter your security code, your security code has been changed. Welcome to the mailbox.
Okay, so I pressed 6, which said I didn't have to enter it from my own extension. It's only going to require I use it when I enter it from the outside. So again, I would just hit voice message.
You have no...
And I don't have to enter a password. If I had chose 7 to do it from my own desk, as soon as I hit the voicemail answers, it would ask me to put in my password. Okay? When you do have messages in your mailbox, again, this light up here will light up. Here, just a second. Let me get a message in there real quick for you.
Start recording at the tone and press the pound key when you are done.
Hi, this is a test message for training.
Please enter the mailbox number to be extension 5. The message has been sent.
Okay, this red flashing light up here is flashing, indicating that you have a message, and you can see in the display here it says 1 new message, so that you know that you have messages. All I have to do is hit the voice message button.
You have 1 new message. To listen to your messages, press 5.
Choose
to leave a
listen,
message,
or
press
5.
7. Hi, this is a test message for training. The message has been archived. To delete the message, press 3. To listen to the next message, press 5. To exit the listen mode, press the pound key. For a complete list of
The message, if you noticed, it said the message has been archived, which means it's automatically been saved. So unless you delete that message, once you listen to them, your messages will be saved in your mailbox, and you can go back and listen to them later. Okay? Any questions on that? All right. While you're listening to messages, you do have options to fast forward, get the date and time stamp of the message, rewind the message a little bit, and all those notes are in the instructions that will be delivered to you in the documents. They're just a single press of a button when you want to do those options. But you can, again, fast forward it, rewind it, transfer it to someone else, anything you need to do with that message. Any questions? Okay, what we're going to do is we are going to switch here and we're going to go to the soft phone, which is going to be for those of you who are teachers in the classrooms and using the phone on your desk. So initially, this is the initial view of the soft phone. What you have is up here is your extension number. You have the toolbar over here with options that you can use for your calls. This is your active call list. And then over here under BLF is where you're going to be able to set up extensions for people you call regularly. Up here at the top, under Tools, there's the option for Preferences. There's lots of information here. But what you want to do is you're going to want to go to DSS BLF, have BLF checked, go to Properties, and it is going to give you the list of all the extensions in the district. Okay? So you could choose to add a particular extension, and have them as BLFs. You can hit your shift key and control and arrow down and add several at a time. I want to add this one next to me, so there it is. Okay, say okay, and okay. And now I have all these people showing that I call frequently. When we've got this phone next to me, the music department phone, right down here, it shows that person's in the office. When that person goes on the phone, you can see it turns green, so you know that person is on the phone. If you want to call that person, you can double click on it. It makes an intercom call to that person. You guys will all have headsets, so you'll be talking through the headsets, using headsets. Up here in this corner over here shows you your active call. If I hit the hold button's up here. I can hit that and put my call on hold. Whoops, I hung up. I shouldn't have hung up. So again, I can hit the hold button, and it shows you over here on hold. So you know which call is on hold. Just double click that on hold again to retrieve that call. If I want to transfer it to somebody else, I can hit transfer and enter in the extension number of who I want to transfer it to, or I can right-click on the person that I have over here, say transfer, and immediate. Or immediate will send the call right away. Supervise will allow you to stay on the call long enough to talk to that person, tell them who you're transferring, and then when you hang up, you have that call. I can also hit a park button and choose the location of where I want to park it, and put that call on hold on park. So, as I said, it shows on all phones. The Park 1 button is flashing on this other phone right now. To retrieve the call, you would hit unpark, the park location, and you have the call back. If you're receiving a call to your cell phone, it shows you who's calling in this box over here, and I can hit the answer button up here at the top. And I now have that call. I can record the conversation. Here's my little record button that will allow me to record the call as a message in my mailbox. When I'm done, I can hit the hang up button. It disconnects the call. Under your Windows button, you have your call log. So all of the calls, remember the list button on the phone? This is the call log for the soft phone. And it shows you the date and time and who called, the extension number and the name. This one's about all intercom calls. Oh, there's some outside calls. Shows you the number. If I want to dial this number back, all I have to do is double click it, and it will call that person back. You also have your voicemail call log. So once you have voicemails in your mailbox, they will appear here under your voice messages. And let me just get a message there for you.
Start recording at the tone and press the pound key when you are done.
Test message for training.
Please enter the mailbox. Extension 5. The message has been sent.
Okay, so you get a notification pop up down here in the bottom of your screen. Where's my mouse? To let you know you have new voicemails. And if you go to your voicemail log, the message shows up there. And you may choose, you may just want to leave this box open, as part of your screen. That's fine. If not, you don't have to. But you just double click on it, and you can play your message. Now, we're not hearing it because it's going through the headset, but you can listen to that message, and you have the same options that you have when listening to any message again. You can transfer it, you can fast forward it, you can delete it. Yes? I'm sorry. I didn't hear her question.
She asked if you could take notes from your call and your call log.
Oh, no. Sorry. If everybody didn't hear that question, she asked if you could take notes from the call log, and the answer to that is no. It's strictly a running list of calls, both made, as you can see here, in and out calls from this extension. Yes?
Can you call and leave a message to multiple people at once?
Yes, you can. When you want to leave a message for multiple people, if you're leaving the message or transferring the message to them, it asks you to enter the extension number you want to forward or leave the message for, and then if you enter that first one, it gives you the option to enter more, so you can just continue to enter until you've got who you want.
I was wondering if you could, for example, call, let's say you had 20 kids in your classroom get an A on the last test, and you wanted to just send a message to the parent. Hey, just want to let you know your child is awesome on the test, blah, 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 and just boom, it just goes out.
No. Nope, sorry. You'd have to make individual calls to each of those numbers.
We do have software available to do that. Oh. We can do it back through there.
Okay. You do need to have the headset plugged in to your computer when you bring up the soft phone each day. And let me just show you that real quick here. I'm going to exit out of this. Okay. Okay, where's this off? Oh, there it is. Yep. So the first screen that comes up is your address, the system address, the web port, which will be preset for you. The first time they're loaded, you shouldn't ever have to change them. The same thing with the username and password. Those are going to be your extension number. And when you click the More button, log in as soft phone. If anyone has a desk phone, and it will make use of the UC suite, you would want to make sure that the login as soft phone is not checked. But you just hit OK. At this point, again, you want to make sure that your headset's plugged in, otherwise it doesn't recognize it and you have problems with the audio. You just click here again, click on the IP address and say OK. This portion of the login does take a minute. It takes a couple minutes for it to load, but it doesn't mean that it's not loading.
Does this happen every morning?
Pardon?
Does this happen once, the first time you do this, or is this every morning?
If you shut your computer down, this would be every morning. And there is a way to set it up in your start menu so that it starts automatically. So that can be set up so that when you turn your computer on, it does start automatically. Now, you're going to get this E911 notice. Because this is a soft phone and it is portable, like if you have a laptop and it's something that can be run on tablets and things, it's just a little warning that's telling you that if you move the phone from somewhere else, if you make a 911 call, it may not, present the proper information to the central office. But you can just click OK, and it will continue to load. Okay?
Can you tell me, the people that have phones now, are we going to be the only ones that have phones? Are teachers going to have actual phones or just the soft phones?
The teachers in the classrooms are only going to have soft phones. So once it opens, it comes up, your settings that you've previously set are still there. Oh, okay.
What about those of us with stereo computers that it takes like 5 minutes for it to load, just to load the computer? I mean, is that going to take a lot longer than that as well?
It will take probably, I don't know that once your computer loads that this will take much longer to load. But it will take, as you saw, a minute and a half there to load.
Yeah, the slow load times on computers are due to the roaming profile. Like, the roaming.
That's okay. Yeah. No, go ahead. That would have been your shot?
Yeah, well, everybody's going wireless. These things have about 4-foot line, 4-foot lead. How far can we walk with these headsets on?
These are not cordless headsets, so...
So I guess what I'm thinking is that I'm walking around and I'm like, how do I know if I got a call? And I'm not really looking at my screen. Is there any way to find out?
How does it work with the cell phone for teachers who are sharing computers or sharing rooms? Can you access this from home?
They can load it on a PC. It's over the phone, it's not on a PC, it's just going to be like on a phone.
Yes, a virtual extension. Off the phone, does it look like you're calling from that number?